This is Travis with POSGuys.com. Today we're reviewing the ELO Paypoint for iPad, and this is the second generation of Paypoint that they've come out with. The original Paypoint is similar to this one. This is actually the Android unit, but it was a good idea in concept, but there was a couple flaws with it that really kept us from being able to recommend it to most people. A couple of the problems were the size. The cash drawer was kind of like a mini sized drawer. It only had 4 slots and you couldn't fit a lot of cash in it. The printer also was a 2-inch wide printer rather than a 4-inch wide printer. And then the customer display and the barcode scanner were kind of just weird proprietary emulations, and they didn't really work very well with kind of just general apps out there. You had to have something very specific for using them. So this is the new Paypoint for iOS. There's also one out for Android, and there's also one for Windows, and they all have kind of different pluses and minuses for the platform that you're using for it. Like previous generation, the iOS version is actually a tablet holder. It's not an iPad itself. So if you click this release here and you push the button, then the iPad will pop out. So this is the 9.7-inch iPad, and this frame is interchangeable. So as new versions of the 9.7-inch come out, then this frame will pop out and you'll get new versions of that. A 12-inch model also exists if you're using the bigger 12-inch iPad on there. So you set it in. This is the lock, and then you can take a screwdriver and you can tighten this bolt, and then the iPad is mounted in permanently. So then when you flip it back and forward, you don't have to worry about it falling out. You also don't have to worry about someone just taking your iPad. It's securely put into the device itself. So as far as peripherals are concerned, they've improved a lot. Going into the ELO app, you can test the different functionality. You'll see that the cash drawer opens on command, and now it's a full-size cash drawer. So there's 5 bill slots, your coins go in there. So much bigger, much more user-friendly. It's also removable, so if you want to take the till out, you can. Things can go under the till and the media slot. So it's a full-size cash drawer now, big improvement. There's also a cash drawer port built into the device, so if you wanted to put the cash drawer on top of another cash drawer where maybe you have additional shifts, or you have a manager's drawer where you want to put things in, you can plug in a separate external cash drawer to it and use the cash drawer cable to open it up. The printer is also greatly improved. So it went from a 2-inch wide receipt to a 3-inch size. So this is the standard size receipt now. It uses a star emulation, and in fact it uses star internal, so it's a TSP 100 internally, though the iPad, when paired with it, will see it as a different device. It's not quite the same as pairing a TSP 100 directly with it, but it can print barcodes, it can print graphics, it prints the same speed as a regular TSP 100, so overall a huge improvement. There's also physical buttons on it, so if you need to turn the printer on and off, there's like a power button on it. There's a feed button if you want to feed out some stuff. The old Paypoint didn't have any kind of physical buttons, so if you had to do anything with the printer itself, you couldn't. There was no physical way of doing it. You would have to like reset the whole Paypoint itself. So big improvement there, where it's basically a TSP 100 built in, and it uses the full-size receipt. So much better, much more improved. It also pairs through Bluetooth, which makes it much easier to program for app developers, because they can take the same code that they used for a regular TSP 100 and then adapt it for this, where the old Paypoint had kind of a proprietary printer and you had to use their SDK in order to communicate with the very specific internal printer. It used a different print format and was very hard to program for. The new format is much more easier to use and much more familiar for developers. The barcode scanner has been approved as well. It's now a Honeywell barcode scanner. So go into barcode here. You see it turn on. I'll stick my hand out, so you'll see the little aiming reticle and lights on it. It's okay. You know, it's a Honeywell scanner, which is good, but the position on it is sort of awkward if you're selling tickets or if you're doing small retail. You know, you mostly do restaurants, but you sell some hats or things like that, then it could work, but it's not nearly as good as a handheld barcode scanner. So this is the DS2278 by Zebra. I have it paired. If you want to scan something, you know, it's very quick, very ergonomic, feels nice, works good. The one built into the side, you kind of have to play with it. And you find that sweet spot where it scans, but you might do a lot of just holding or kind of going in and out trying to get it to scan. So it's okay. Our preference would be to not have it built in and just have a barcode scanner separate. Like anything with iOS, your app has to be developed for it. So if your app isn't set up to use the side barcode scanner, then it's not going to work. The same for the customer display, customer facing display on the back. Every unit comes with it, but unless your unit's been developed for it, it's not going to work. I'll turn it around so you can see the display. Okay. So it's right here. You can see it. And so it's real small. There's a couple of lines. You can clear it, you can turn it on again. If your app's developed for it, then it'll work, but it's kind of an odd place. I don't think a lot of people see it. You can't angle it at all. It's sitting really low. If they had a separate display or even a secondary monitor, that might be better. One other thing to look at is the ports on the bottom. So you'll see the power for the device. It keeps your iPad charged at all times. There's also a couple more ports down here. The two Ethernet looking ports aren't Ethernet ports. Those are for attaching a external serial port, and then there's a micro USB port where you could use to charge another device like your phone. Anything that you can kind of plug in a micro USB and then the other end connects to whatever you need it to connect to on it. So with the serial ports, again, the idea was to give a ability to hook up to an external scale. However, your app needs to support that, and that's not something that most apps do natively. You can't just plug in a scale and then expect your app to be able to use it with the ELO Paypoint. It has to all be integrated and all designed around each other. There's no general, this is how a scale communicates with an app. It doesn't work that way in iOS. App has to be developed for it. So overall, some really big strides to it. The apps that have been designed to work with the Paypoint, like Aldello Express, work really well with it. It can use most of the peripherals. The printing works really nice. You can also use an external kitchen printer. So if you want to use this as your main terminal, you have the built-in printer for printing receipts, and then you can attach in a separate Ethernet printer for pressing that. If you want to use an external barcode scanner, you can. The socket is going to be very common. That's the one built into most apps. If they have just a general text field and wherever you type it in is where you can scan, then the DS2278 would work. If they've integrated with the built-in barcode scanner, you can use the barcode scanner. So really take a look at your app and make sure that it's compatible with the different peripherals, either on the Paypoint itself or externally, and then you can see if it's a good working package for you. But overall, if your app does work with the Paypoint, it's a really cool little stand for it because the iPad is really secured, it flips back and forth, really nice, it's very clean, has a good look. It is more compact than having a separate stand on a cash drawer. So take a look at it and make sure that it works with your app. For more information on the ELO Paypoint or to purchase, please visit us at POSGuys.com. Thanks.